oceans, gray waves, something, something. And then there's only like 2 lines. How do I not know all the words? Damn it.
You are the ocean's gray waves, destined to see.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my good buddy from I was going to say the UK for a second there, but it's actually the Great White North. The Great White North. The Great White North. I was trying to think of a nickname at first for the North. I got messed up. Apologize. Canuckville.
The funny thing is, we could easily redo this. Like, we could just go, like, you know what, I botched that intro, but we're just going to keep going forward. I'm going to just forget the fact that you don't even know where I'm from. I wish you a very, merry Freedom Day. Yes, celebrating freedom from your oppressors.
Yes.
I think that's what happened.
It was. We basically kicked Toby and his boys to the curb and said, get out of here.
Jesus. Led by Mel Gibson, I think, right? In The Patriot. I think that's...
Yes, freedom.
Yeah, I went on a really hot date for The Patriot.
I did too with my best friend.
You went on a date with your best friend?
We almost got into a fist fight.
You feel up over the shirt or under the shirt?
No, we got. All right, we're gonna break this down. No, it was a guy friend. I was just joking about it. My best friend in the world.
I got over the shirt action.
Dave Maxwell, my best friend in the world. He looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, awesome!
So we go in the movie theater, right? We sit down in the back, and the movie starts, and the picture is beyond the screen, so it's actually like on the curtains. There's no audio. You can't hear anything. And the theater's packed house. So I look over him and I go, dude, go tell the manager there's something wrong. He's like, all right, I will. So he gets up and he goes to go get the manager. Now, the way it is, I'm in the back row, but the entrances are like behind us. So you come in and there's a wall, and then you go left or right, and then it wraps around, and then we're on that wall, that back wall. So, but there are some seats kind of behind me to my left. It's like a 2-seat row that runs down the left. So I hear a father telling his kids, you guys sit there, and me and your mother are going to sit there. Now, I don't know how you go to the movies with your guy friends, but there has to be a space between us. We don't sit next to each other. When I go to Stop, listen to me. When I go with my wife, we sit next to each other. Oh,
when Gary and I go, we sit closer than Chelsea and I sit.
That's a problem. But anyway, so there's always a space between us. Now I'm the third seat in, and there's two spots next to me.
Sure.
But the end is my buddy Dave. Now in between us, there's his popcorn and there's a jacket and all that stuff, right? So I hear the guy say to his kids, you guys sit back there and we're going to sit there. So just as he starts to come up, the audio clicks on and the picture's fixed. Now, I know people are annoyed because they just paid, whatever to go to movies and it's all messed up at the beginning.
Should be free movie.
Well, that's irrelevant. That's not the point of the story. So hold on. So I look over and I see him and his wife going to sit there, and I point at the drinks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I put my hand up like, don't go there. But I'm not talking because I'm not trying to be loud. There's people here. He's being obnoxious. New Jersey has some very obnoxious men. They think they're from the mafia and they're hardcore. Whatever. Okay. So he's like, are these seats taken? And I shake my head yes, and I point to the jacket. I go like this to the jacket and the popcorn and stuff. And he goes, what's that mean? And I go, and I point again to the jacket, and I go like this. He goes, what's that mean? He goes, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. What does this mean? And I go, you don't know what this means? He goes, no. I said, do you know what this means?
Oh!
And he goes, and for those, I gave him the middle finger, all right? So he goes, oh, we got a tough guy. Whatever. He just gave me the finger, and he's like, he's being obnoxious, right? And I'm just sitting there like, oh, go away, dude. So at that time, my best friend comes back, right? Sits down, and now the guy's kind of like towering over him because he's like trying to get at me a little bit. And so he goes, he just gave me the finger. I can't believe you gave me the finger. What did I do to get that? And I'm like, oh, would you just go away, dude? And I'm like, so now I'm ignoring him. I look over at my best friend. He goes, did you give him the finger? And I start laughing. And he goes, you did. And he looks at the guy and he goes, grabs a handful of popcorn. He goes, get out of here. Throws it in his face, right? And I'm like, oh, why? Why tonight? We're going to want to get into a fist fight. And then the guy's like, oh, you think you're tough, Stone Cold? You think you're tough? I was like, say it to him, right? And my buddy's like, just get lost, dude. Just go away. Go away. And
he's just sitting there adjusting his knee brace.
Yeah. So that's like, and at that point, that was like the third time in a row that we gone. And we almost got into a fight at the movies. And I was like, we just need to stop going to the movies, man. Like, this is a bad omen, man. So,
I can't believe your friend was the only person to go back and tell somebody something was wrong.
Well, no. When he got back there,
was a mass panic.
Well, we talked afterwards. The manager was like, he was like the third guy to go out there. There was a bunch of people that going out there like, hey, what's going on? This is nonsense. You know what I mean? So, and luckily it was just like in old timey movies. What is this? Back in the 90s, it was just credits. There was never any story. It's
probably the year 2000, I would guess.
Okay. But still, at that time, it was basically credits. You never got like movie. You never got plot points in that portion of it. You know what I mean? I remember being a kid and my dad would just fast forward through the credits. We wouldn't even watch the beginning credits. We would just fast forward, and when the movie started, we started watching there. You know? So now this isn't Nerdflix and Chill. If you're confused to what
you're the one talking, I'm just like.
Sean's got to bring up movies every time we're.
All I was going to say is my arm fell asleep because I was too noob at the whole dating thing, and I had my arm behind the girl I was dating at the time. I just left it there.
What?
And I'm like, why don't I just take my arm? My arm was dead for a week. I almost like lost my arm because of the Patriot. I almost. Anyway, happy Independence Day to you.
Thank you.
For anybody who doesn't, I didn't hear it on. I don't think a single podcast recognize that it was also Canada Day this past weekend. So for all you Canadians out there, get out of here.
No, I don't know what it is. I'm just saying, what is it?
It's the same thing. It's like when it was their birthday.
You guys aren't free of the Queen. You guys.
Well, we did it very friendly. We're like, would you like to come over for some pancakes and maple syrup and poutine on the side? We're gonna sign some documents. Boom! It's our birthday, Canada.
Yeah, no. We whipped their ass. We kicked them out. We were like, no, go away.
But you were also the one who wrote the history books, weren't you?
No. That's what you stop.
I'm just kidding.
Don't even try that.
Here, I'm going to change the subject. I've got a really great shirt. I'm not even going to tell anybody what it is. If you can see it on the YouTube, it's really great. We'll just leave it at that. What do you think about that? Should we run this Nintendo thing or?
Yeah, let's. But real quick, let's do a couple shout outs. How about
that?
That's what we always do.
I get to go first. I get to go first.
Oh, here we go. Why you gotta steal my thunder, man? Go ahead.
You might be saying the same guy, but Josh Stapleton.
Oh, my boy Josh, who actually almost told me that his balls stink today.
Oh, well then we would have had that in common because I didn't shower for 4 days after going into the wilderness this weekend. I was camping, celebrating Canada's freedom. I don't even know what we're celebrating, to be honest with you. We don't indulge in our own history like the Americans. We're just kind of like, that's a day we're all gonna just go camping.
Yeah.
So I'm on my way to camp, and I get a message from Josh. He's like, "Look, dude, I want to donate to your Ride to Conquer Cancer. How could I do this?" And I'm like driving on the highway. I'm like, "Look, I'm really, really sorry. Like, that's really nice of you. I can't text and drive on the highway. We'll figure something out." I come back to the internet land of Canada, and he figured it out. He made a donation to my Ride to Conquer Cancer. I'm just beyond words other than the ones that I'm saying right now. Josh, thank you so much, man. That means a whole lot.
When is the last day you can donate to that?
Let's just say the end of this month. It's actually about a week into August, but yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna donate as well because my buddy just passed away last week from cancer.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I'm so sorry.
It pretty sad. Really awesome guy. Same age as me. Went to high school with.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. Marcus Cordery. Rest in peace. He just and it's a shame because it was only a couple months, man. He found out a couple months ago and boom, done. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So
it's a cause that's important to me and everybody around us. It's I've done the ride now 5 times. It's 200 I don't know how many miles this is, 150 miles over 2 days. It's in the Rocky Mountains. It's pretty much the hardest thing that I do. Like it's probably the most challenging thing that I do. So very important. But yeah, very great, huge shout out to Mr. Josh Stapleton, man.
Yeah.
All right, bring us up with your.
And just to be clear,
I'm getting emotional, so I'm trying to move on. Oh, God.
I had to pull it back in a little bit, but to be clear, he was actually typing "my Bulls suck," but autocorrect changed it on him, and he just before he hit send on the tweet, he caught it. And I was like, oh, that would have been awkward, man. That would have been really awkward.
So now I just disclosed that my balls were all weird. Camping for no good reason.
Your balls
I didn't
are
have
always
the
weird.
same. Oh, God.
I want to give a shout out to my boy Evilos. Evilos is an amazing customizer, does some amazing stuff with Amiibo. He's into the pop stuff right now, so the Funko Pop, and he's doing some awesome work. He has a box, kind of like a loot box. Probably one of the coolest ones that I've seen on the internet in terms of like Patreon funded and all that stuff. Like, so I really urge everybody to go to Patreon, check out his look up Evilos, check out his Patreon. He's got some really cool stuff that he's put in there. And in August, it's going to be a Nintendo box. So really, truly, seriously, go check that out. If you're a Nintendo fan, you'll want to go check it out. And I have a couple of his custom like that right there, that Pikachu is a custom amiibo that he did. It's awesome. It's really cool. Touch Base Podcast. I want to give a shout out to Mason. He's at Amiglos on wherever you want to go check him out, Twitter and all that stuff. And his co-host Kyle, Mr. Space Heater. The guys are really cool. They're really awesome. They actually wanted us together on the show the last time I was on. And because a couple of the things that they were throwing at us, I don't know if you listened to the episode. I think it was episode, I want to say 13 or something like that. But they started throwing some If We Ran Nintendo stuff at me. And they were like, well, we want Sean to be on here too because we had these ideas for this stuff. And I was like, it's a shame he's not on, But
you're like, whatever, I'll just move on with that.
I'm like, we don't need Sean.
Tell him about it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Sean's just the yes man in this grand operation. I tell you what it is, and he yeses me.
One of these days, you're going to catch me at like a truly emotional one with a jab like that. I'm just going to break down into unstoppable tears. I'm going to soak my microphone with my own.
Two more shout outs. We're going to give a shout out to Phoenix Overdrive crew.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
what an episode.
I was just on their podcast this week. Awesome. Great time. Lee is the man. I love that guy. It's funny because I've spoken to Ray a few times. I even hooked up with them kind of because of your podcast when I heard Ray on your podcast. And again, he's one of the ones that like had a background very similar to mine. And when I heard his episode, when I hear episodes that are similar to my episode, I fall in love with those people. Mm-hmm. And I just want to reach out to them and just be like, hey man, great episode. I loved it because I'm interested in that. I want to know how people got into gaming and all that stuff. So hearing similar backgrounds just makes me realize that like, we're not as different as we might think. You know what I mean? Like we come from very different backgrounds and all that, but we're not that different, and it's really cool to hear that stuff. Becky as well. She's awesome. But I had a blast with them guys. It was so much fun. I would love to go back on again. It was just great. And I demand
to be back on first. I'm going to jump in on the whole Phoenix Overdrive love, the Nerd Overdrive love here. Another shout out, Ray, if you're listening. I actually don't know if Ray listens. So Ray Osorio, El Capitan, if you're listening, thank you for donating to my Ride to Conquer Cancer. Man,
that's awesome.
Like everybody's just jumping on. So huge shout out to Ray. I know fundraising, him and I connected on that when he was on my show as well. We know that all of this stuff is really important for us to kind of keep in our lives. I need to figure out a way to get involved with this extra life stuff.
Me too.
Now that I'm saying it, It's recorded, it's out there in the internet. I got to figure out a way. I'm almost certain that the kids hospital here is part of the whole extra life thing. I think that they partake in that too. So
we got to do something.
Maybe we'll join that team.
Yeah, that's what I had already mentioned it to him.
I think it might.
Lee threw some information at me, so maybe we'll have to hook up with that.
I think everybody else should too. Gaming, like why not? Like I have always wanted to figure out a way to combine the two things that I obsess over most, like fundraising and.
It'd be nice if we could figure a way to do it. Seriously, we have it basically covered. So what we do is
podcasting.
No, but I mean, what
you're gonna say?
No. What I mean is you have Toby and Alan that are 5 hours ahead of me. So they could kick it off. They could start it, go for a few hours, you know what I mean? And then I pick up, and then I go for a while, and then you're, 2 hours behind me, and then you can grab it and then go for a little bit, and then hopefully they can come back around and grab it.
Seamus in Australia.
Yeah, there you go. There's that. Seamus picks up the other side.
He picks up tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. He's the future. So,
yeah.
Last shout out I want to give. This guy is a really cool kid. He sent me a message via Twitter. Nintendo Frenzy is his YouTube channel. It's his Twitter. But he's at Ben Morey 74. So it's BENMOREY 74. Reached out to me and was like, hey, man, could you check out my YouTube channel? If you have any tips or any advice for me and all that, let me know. And so I checked it out. He does unboxings. Really young kid, energetic. I really suggest everybody to just go give him a sub, go support him, follow him on Twitter. It's good to see young guys like being constructive and doing stuff that are, that's kind of entertaining and all that. So that is it. Enough shout outs. Let's jump into this episode. We're going to start running Nintendo. Question 1, topic 1. If we ran Nintendo, recently this past week, Nintendo came out and said that they have had more people working on Zelda Breath of the Wild than any other game that they've ever had. I think the number was like 300 or 400 people working on this game, which is huge. It's a huge game. And they've stated, Bill Trinan and Mr. Miyamoto, they're being interviewed this week, and they stated that they need to sell 2 million copies to start making a profit on this game, which is a lot.
Do you think so?
Well, you think about it. Like, I don't think that there's other games that barely reach 1 million. There's other games that haven't reached 2 million, and especially if the console doesn't sell well, if the consoles don't sell, like on the Wii U, I think they would have struggled to do 2 million easily. True. I think they would have really struggled for 2 million. Think about it, like Splatoon did 4 million, and that's a great game, and a lot of people fell in love with it. I would hope that Zelda can do 2 million. But so my question is how do we sell 2 million games? And what tactics do we go about in order to make this happen? Now, when we had Justin Masson on and we discussed it, you and I had both said, like, hey, pack it in. Makes me wonder, can you really do a pack in? Only way you could do a pack in is if you're actually selling the game rather than giving it away. It sounds like Nintendo really can't afford to just give this game away, that they need to sell it. So I wonder if we change tactics a little bit here and try to figure out a way to sell 2 million copies. But my first move that I feel is I wouldn't have shut the plants down that were creating Wii U's. I would have lowered the price of the Wii U. I feel like they need a price drop. And I feel like if they drop the Wii U to about $200, they'll actually start moving Wii U's. They're predicting that they'll move 800,000 Wii U's by the end of the year. That's not a lot. That's not a lot at all. Now, granted, the console's dying, the system's done, and it's the end of the life cycle. But I feel like you could sell an easy 1 million consoles if you drop the price to about $200. $200, and then you have Zelda coming. I think that people would buy, because I think at $200, it's almost a no-brainer. That's a 3DS. So if you get a whole full gaming console for $200, plus you buy this cool Zelda game that's coming, plus all the other great games that they have on the Wii U, I think it's a no-brainer. I think the console becomes a real no-brainer for a lot of people that were kind of like on the fence. $300. You think, and I don't know why you do, but that number, $300, you think about it before you spend it. But $200, $200 for whatever reason, I just, boom, okay, I'll get it, no big deal.
To me, like, it's not even just the raw dollar value, though. It seems like Xbox is doing some really great stuff with all of the bundles. I know that's kind of where we're getting at here. It's like the single game bundle. But for $200, they kind of have to give you everything that's worth, like the whatever that ultimate collection of games. This might be a little off topic, but $200 is not just about the $200 price tag. I think that they need to, if they're going to move units, give away the farm. Everything like Splatoon, Mario Kart, Zelda, even like make it a 3 Zelda pack for the Wii U. Maybe that's a good way to
maybe Twilight Princess,
Wind Waker, and then the Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
have that as like a special edition Wii U.
Yeah.
But like that only accomplishes the one thing of selling the Wii U to get your 800,000. Like, do you want to get millions of NXs out the door? And I think the answer is probably going to be yes. I'm looking at just some charts here, just as an aside here. Like, there really hasn't been a console Zelda game that hasn't sold 2 million. Skyward Sword was 3.67. Majora's Mask was 3.3.
Well, let's hold on for a second. Let's get this correct. Skyward Sword had 120 million units, so I think that attach rate is horrible.
It definitely is.
So,
but that's one of the lowest. It's one of the lowest selling Zeldas.
So go ahead. What was the next one? Majora's Mask was how many?
Majora's Mask was the next lowest on a console. Everything else is handheld. Is DS, 3DS. The lowest is Four Swords Adventure, which this chart is still counting as
garbage.
Main entry. So yeah, I feel like 2 million isn't
okay. So let me ask you a question. What did Twilight Princess do?
Twilight Princess did really well. So combined 8.58 million copies. 7.26 of that was on the Wii.
So then I don't think, you know what, maybe this is a wasted topic then, because maybe I
don't mean to waste the topic. And then maybe they're talking about like 2 million. Is it 2 million global? Is it 2 million within a certain amount of time?
What they were saying was 2 million to break even, and then they started turning a profit after that.
I think that's really good, especially if you consider what like Square Enix was talking about with the original reboot of Tomb Raider back in 2013. Mm-hmm. They did something like 4 million copies, and they're like, we're not even breaking even.
Yeah,
like it wasn't a success to them. So 2 million, like this is, I think we can kind of like shift the topic here a little bit, because I think it's going to be no problem for them to sell it. But I think this also speaks to how shrewd Nintendo was as a company. The fact that they can pour in all of their resources, they can make this game enormous. They can generate incredible buzz about a Zelda game. And they say like this almost, it's not like a stretch target of 2 million. It's like all we need to do is 2 million. I think that that's extremely reasonable.
Yeah. I think because you're going to sell, I think you can easily sell 1 million units on the Wii U. Easily. Because I'll tell you right now, full disclosure, I'm buying a Wii U copy and I'm buying an NX copy. I know Toby is doing the same thing. Collectors are going to buy both copies.
Right.
You know, there was a long time that I saw Twilight Princess for GameCube in the Toys R Us, and I never picked it up. And I kicked myself today. You know, because it's worth a lot of money now. And so I know that myself, I know Toby's discussed it. Like, we're definitely going to buy the only reason I haven't bought one yet is I'm just wondering if they're going to do a collector's edition for the Wii U. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing that's held me off from pre-ordering one. But I'm definitely buying one on the Wii U, and I'm definitely buying one for NX. I'll play the NX. I'll leave the Wii U unbundled up and won't touch it.
Right. Well, I look at like how...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I'm jumping somewhere.
Well, I was going to say, unless for some crazy reason they come out and go, oh my God, the Wii U version is the definitive version. That's the best version.
Can you imagine?
I could definitely imagine that, because people said the same thing about the GameCube and Wii, because, you know, they felt like the motion controls were just slammed in there. And people said that like they enjoyed the GameCube version more because they enjoyed the controller. So I think, it definitely could, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, we've talked at length of what is the NX going to be. Yeah. I see it maybe as a return to form with more of a fundamental game. Yeah. So I was thinking about really the sales on the Wii U for the Breath of the Wild. I think are going to be limited more so by Nintendo itself than people, gamers' interest. Because I think you're right. I think people who have a Wii U are going to run out and buy this just to have it, even if they do plan on getting an NX. Just looking at Splatoon sales, Mario Kart 8, like the attach rate for the Wii U is phenomenal. People are just totally desperate for games. If there's any reason at all to buy the Wii U version of this next Zelda game, people will find it and they will get it, but it'll be Nintendo that's going to cap those sales. Yeah. Because I think you look at the GameCube, 1.3 million sales for the Twilight Princess. They probably could have sold way more than that, but the availability of the game was on the Wii.
Well, and they also put it out on the Wii, and then a month later put it on the GameCube.
Yeah, it was very stealthy.
Yeah, so I think that you look at that, and that also I feel hurt the GameCube a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, for me, I think this is a no-brainer NX seller. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this pushes it. Let's put it this way: if Twilight Princess moved, you said 8 million.
Isn't that
copies.
Insane?
But you said 1 million was on the GameCube.
Yep.
Now, so that's 7 million units, and that was at the beginning of the Wii. That wasn't a long time after or anything like that. So that's the beginning of the Wii. They moved 7 million units. If Breath of the Wild comes out the gates and sells 7 million copies, that means you have to sell at least 7 million units. That's good for Nintendo.
I agree. I actually think, I don't know if anybody's really talking about this. Like, I think a system seller for Nintendo is Zelda. It's not Mario anymore. Like, I think that's really an interesting thing. We think back to Mario 64 is probably the last time where we bought a Nintendo console or like totally pumped about a Mario game.
Yeah, but you gotta see,
everything's been fine. Not to disrespect any of the other Mario games that have come since, but like Twilight Princess moved the needle, and Mario 64 hasn't.
But to be fair, when they launched the Wii,
Put me in check. To be fair,
no. But I'm just saying, to be fair, when they launched the Wii, Galaxy wasn't there at the beginning. Twilight Princess was, but Galaxy wasn't there at the beginning. Galaxy didn't come out.
That is fair. Galaxy probably would have done the same. Yep,
so
that's fair.
I think it was almost 2 years later when Galaxy hit. Now, and then when the Wii U hit, they gave us that garbage 2D side scroller, new Wii U edition nonsense, Super Mario U, which they felt like, because of numbers, they felt like that would do better than a 3D one. But I think that if they launched with Galaxy 3, I think it would move consoles, to be fair. We haven't had a true dedicated Mario game at launch in a while. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's totally hard to say. It's so funny what happens when we start to see the same formula applied to the franchises that we love. We start to see things like kind of trickle off. I mean, Twilight Princess was really the last kind of Ocarina of Time style Zelda that really worked. Skyward Sword, not really there. So this is totally new, totally fresh. I wonder the same thing about a Mario game. Like, would it be a Galaxy 3 that would move the needle, or would it be something else, like kind of like what Miyamoto is talking about? They're testing some new ideas. I don't know. I would be personally, I would be completely pumped for a new Galaxy game. I absolutely adore those games. They're incredible.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Galaxy 3 holds the same, I don't know, wonder and awe, like just everything around, all the buzz around Breath of the Wild is incredible. It's hard to imagine that would be equaled or even toppled by anything else. It's hard to imagine. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy right now. Everybody's going nuts over this game.
I know people that were very hardcore, that are hardcore PlayStation 4 and Xbox fans that were on the fence with the NX. And after they've seen what they've seen with Zelda, are like, I'm buying an NX.
Yes.
And to me, that tells me, like, that's what Nintendo needs. That's what they've wanted, and they've accomplished it. Now they just have to deliver, and I think they'll deliver. I don't have any doubt they'll deliver, but I think that this console will get people back. This game, I think this game is going to, because it's, as we've discussed. Can you hear booming and stuff?
A little, just now.
Fireworks. I'm sorry.
Oh, awesome.
the town's got fireworks going on, and I normally don't hear them from here, but the field's not that far from here, and I'm like, I keep hearing banging. I'm like, what the heck is she doing downstairs? But then when I took the headphones off for a second, I was like, oh, that's fireworks. Anyway, sorry. I think that, like, because this game is kind of like, as we said, it's a mix of a bunch of different games. It's going to basically sell the console for Nintendo, pretty much. And I think they're in the right direction, or moving in the right direction. I think they're going to do very well with this. you know, but if there's anything I feel like they need to do, you know what? It's crazy because when I thought about the topic earlier, it just came off of because of what I heard Miyamoto and Bill Trinen say. And I thought my first reaction was like, oh my God, that's a lot of copies. But I was referencing it to the Wii or the Wii U. And I thought like, man, that console really struggled. And 2 million copies, like can they, because that's almost, to me, it's like, man, that attach rate has to be through the roof. Because I'm also thinking like, are they really going to move 7, 8, 9 million units in the beginning? I think a lot depends on how Nintendo launches. And I think that Kimishima doesn't want to play the old Nintendo trick of, oh, we have a shortage. I think he wants to get the consoles out and let people buy them.
I agree.
And I also think he wants to do a worldwide launch so everybody has access day one, launch all 3 territories at the same exact time. So I think that like if they can't play the shortage game because it'll hurt them, I feel. Because if people can't get this console, I hate to think what it's going to be like. But then again, if they sell through the roof, Nintendo's always been a very conservative company. And I think that, like you look at what they did with the Amiibo and stuff, and I think that like they might go short just to make sure they sell out, especially since the Wii U didn't move that well. So
yeah, I think they have a better handle on the whole supply chain than anybody gives them credit for. I think they've got it down to an absolute science. There's a lot of feelings taken out of it. I think they've got it down. I mean, whether or not they can target the right people with the right product, that's a totally other thing. But in terms of supply chain, I think they're better at it than people give them credit.
Yeah.
One other note I want to mention, maybe this is why they're talking about 2 million copies. When we look at Wind Waker HD for the Wii U, we've got our recent Twilight Princess HD. Both of those are under 2 million. Actually, we don't have numbers. I don't think we actually seen anything for Twilight Princess. I would have to imagine it's actually less than Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, but they're remakes as well, and
so maybe that's where they're coming up with this number. I'm not really certain that's like what's the benchmark if they're just saying like Zelda game and there's no difference to them whether it's a remake or a fresh one. Who knows? But I think 2 million definitely they're going to hit. I don't even think there's any tricks that need to be.
Let's throw a number out there. What do you think this game sells?
5 million.
You think that's what it sells overall?
Easy. Yep. I'm like playing. Prices
you have the list in front of you?
Yep.
What's the most copies of a game that a Zelda game has sold?
Twilight Princess.
And how many is that?
8.58.
I think
the next is Ocarina of Time.
I think this one does 10 million copies.
Damn!
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say I think it does 10 million copies.
10 million copies.
Yeah.
You know what? There might be something to that because I feel like we're in a whole new world of, like in Aladdin. You and I were on a magic carpet ride. We're in a whole new world. This is how my brain works, you guys. This is just streaming my brain onto the internet. We are seeing some crazy numbers, some crazy sales numbers, and it's like we haven't had like really a hit from Nintendo in quite some time. They haven't had the landscape isn't there for a 10 million copy sale, but it is there on Xbox. It is there on PlayStation. We're starting to see some crazy numbers, just like overnight. Things are going nuts.
Uncharted did 2 million.
Like a week?
Yeah, like something like that. Like their initial sales was like 2 million. I think Grand Theft Auto did 63 million, somewhere in there. Now, to give them stability, like they're on everything. They're not holding off. They're going everywhere. But I feel like it's going to be harder for Nintendo to do it because it's just on. But I feel like anybody that buys an NX is buying it for Zelda.
Yeah, you got to think the attach rate there is like, especially in the first little while, like 80%. Yeah. What else are you buying an NX for?
Yeah.
At least at this point, they're not telling us anything else. They're telling us they got one game or one console.
If for whatever reason this game does become a pack-in game, they're definitely selling it. They'll definitely do it.
Yep.
So, because you got it, if you want an X, you got to buy it. So I really do. I feel like they could do 10 million on this one.
This could be the return of the system seller. We haven't seen a game like that on either console quite well. I still don't think that we have a real like you must own this console for this game. There's a couple that are close, I think Uncharted is probably the closest it gets for PlayStation 4. Well, for PlayStation 4, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, same idea, like the Naughty Dog kind of thing. We haven't really seen it on Xbox. I own an Xbox. I own it for like the collection of games, but I don't think there's one. Nintendo is the king of that. You need this system for this game and for this experience, this type of experience. Let it happen.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, topic 2. If we ran Nintendo, and I got this kind of off of when I was on the Phoenix Overdrive podcast this weekend, because there was a game on there called Tap Tap Arcade 2, and I was just like, why is this game even getting a sequel? I don't get it. So that's where it kind of comes from. But if we ran Nintendo, what are games that must have sequels? And then to kind of go off of that, and this will be our wrap-up topic, is do you see that we need to focus on the sequels and worry about getting the sequels right, or should we start moving the company into more original IPs? So let's start with the sequels first. What games do you feel, because we're moving into a new console, and of course we're going to get sequels coming on this console, but what games do you feel like need to have a sequel? And we'll just say that for the NX, they got to have sequels for, we got to put them out for the NX. So is there anything that sticks out in your mind that you go, this game needs a sequel?
Okay, so I think this is kind of a weird topic for me because I think there's a bunch of no-brainers. Let's get a couple out of the way.
Yeah.
Splatoon.
Yes.
Gotta have it.
Yes.
Mario Kart, Pikmin, Smash,
Yes.
Galaxy.
Yes.
All of the franchises.
Yeah.
The game that I would really like to see kind of like expanded upon, because I think that there's a lot of good in the original idea. I think there was a couple of changes throughout the development in terms of what the game was actually going to be, but the Wonderful 101 was really cool, and I would love to see that expand like that. They just put so much into all of the different characters that you can play, and like just having that whole crowd of people on the screen is so neat. And if Dead Rising can become a 4-game series because you're mowing down millions of zombies and really with all these different weapons, I really think the Wonderful 101 could become the Wonderful 102, the Wonderful 103, and all these different things. I mean, it just the world that they've created here, and I know it was Platinum for this game, right? I'm not conflating.
Yeah, Platinum.
They're busy with I don't know how many dozens of different projects, but I would love for them to just kind of hunker down and make this into something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this supposed to start wasn't this supposed to be like a Smash type of game where it was supposed to star Nintendo characters instead of they had to recreate?
This was oh my god. There's a Beautiful Joe.
Right.
The team that basically created Beautiful Joe spawned off. And that's kind of where Platinum came from. They left Capcom, went off, but this game was supposed to be in that Beautiful Joe style game, art style, but just different, and they kind of went their own direction with it and stuff. But this is where it all spawned from. I don't believe it was supposed to have anything Nintendo related into it. The only thing was that Nintendo basically said we want it to be an exclusive on the Wii U.
So I quickly Googled this while I asked the question, and you're right and you're wrong. So you're absolutely right. It did spawn off of a Beautiful Joe, but it also says Platinum. So this is off Wikipedia, everybody, just so I'm not reading this off of my brain. Platinum Games initially thought of using Nintendo first-party characters who would work together to get past obstacles. When the idea was presented to Nintendo, they questioned how the mechanic would fill an entire game, blah, 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 blah. It didn't happen. Yeah. So, I would love for either way. If you actually do the transition into making it like a Smash, but kind of like a Smash of characters, a collection of characters, I think there's a lot to that. And you mentioned on Nerd Overdrive seeing Mario Kart come back with more of that collection Smash of different first-party characters. Yeah. Man, I cannot believe we haven't seen that formula applied to all sorts of different genre of game. I'd love to see that with the Wonderful 101.
I think it works. Now,
They're being careful, right? That's the thing. You can't just do and now we'll do a beat 'em up game, and now we'll do a racing game, and all that
exactly.
stuff. Yeah,
I feel like for me, the one that definitely has to have the sequel is Bayonetta.
Oh yeah,
I loved Bayonetta 2. I didn't play the original. I played it after I bought it on
it came free,
on the Wii U. It came free, yeah, and I loved Bayonetta. I thought that game was so well done, gorgeous, crazy, wacky, the huge bosses that you're fighting and stuff, like just amazing. So well done. I loved it. So I would definitely want a Bayonetta game, Bayonetta 3. I want a Kid Icarus game on a home console.
Oh, man, what a no-brainer. Yes, of course.
I think that would be... We haven't had a Kid Icarus game on a home console since the original NES. So, to me, that's the one. Like, I would love to see them go back, bring that game out for a sequel.
Does this make any sense if I were to say Mario Maker? Like, does it make sense to have a sequel there?
I think that gets ported over right away. I feel like, I don't know that you make a sequel. I don't know if you actually call it Mario Maker 2 as much as just get it over on the NX and allow them to have, allow people to have all them worlds and maybe expand on it. Maybe you give people, because the NX is more powerful, you give them the ability to make the levels a little bit bigger. You know what I mean? As opposed to the tightness of what it is. I
can't remember if I've said this before, but I feel like that is a pack-in game, as like, just like when you buy a PC, you get your Microsoft Paint.
Yes.
This is like same idea. I think there's a whole bunch of creative, I think I've said this before, a couple creative Nintendo tools should just be like part of the UI, just like when you buy your iPhone, you get all the crap.
I feel like you definitely need to do, not that I would want it because I wouldn't buy it, but I know it has a huge following, a new F-Zero game.
Oh, yes. Love it.
I think a lot of people would buy it up. A lot of people love that franchise. It's not a franchise I'm into, so I definitely wouldn't buy it. But that's one that, like, you need to give that love to that franchise. But I also feel this, parlaying into the second question, is I feel like we need to get away from sequels a little bit. I feel like they need to make 1 to 2 new IPs a year and push. Because if anything, Splatoon showed that they have the ability, these younger developers that they have working for them have the ability to make great original IP games. Let them loose. Like, it's time. Just let them go crazy. You know, you do your sequels, your Marios, your Zeldas, your Metroids, and all that stuff. Your Mario Kart, your Smash. Yes, you get all those. But you have to let these guys go crazy. They obviously have. I mean, what they've come out and said is that this is a younger team that's making Zelda. And you see what they did, you know? And so I feel like you look at what they did with Splatoon. I like Codename Steam on the 3DS. I think that you just let these guys go loose and you let them make original IPs and let them get nuts. I think that's the future of the company. You know, I look at it like this. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, Disney did this revamp where, like, almost every single year they were coming out with new animated classics. You know, Beauty and the Beast, the list. It's a huge list of games, a whole huge list of movies that they put out with, like, one after the other, Hunchback of Notre Dame and all them. Aladdin, the list goes on. And they basically walked away from Mickey Mouse and all them and said, we're going to start over. We're going to make all these brand new movies. And now when you go back and you look, they are staples, huge staples when you go into Disney World. Like, you see, like, you go into this new section that they built in the Magic Kingdom, and it's all the princesses. And all the princesses, Little Mermaid, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and all these huge movies that were done later are actually showcased within, mixed in with some of their older stuff. But I feel like that's where Nintendo is right now. They're at that pivot point right now where they need to not rely so heavily on their original stuff. I think that, yes, you got to bring them out. You definitely have to bring them out because you want to make the Nintendo fans happy. But they also have to innovate and make new games. has to be done. They can't rely on Miyamoto forever. There's going to be a time when he steps down or passes away or whatever it may be. Now's the time while he's still there to kind of help to move off and start making these new franchises, and I think Splatoon is the biggest that proves that that's what they need to do.
Do you think that there's an opportunity for Nintendo to sort of own, in a first-party capacity, to own the JRPG world? Like, I know Xenoblade Chronicles, like, I just don't think that that's really quite it. Like, is there a way for them to bring that inward, the whole Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy?
I think they could.
Secret of Mana kind of.
I think they could, basically take the thunder away from Persona. I think that they absolutely could. You look at what they have with Fire Emblem, okay? Mm-hmm. And I feel like Fire Emblem would be your base. So Fire Emblem is a turn-based strategy game. And
that was going to be my next one, by the way, for another sequel. I think that could be great.
Oh, yeah, on a home console? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like, kind of change it a little bit, like, make it bigger.
What I would do is I would keep it still. You'd still do your core, but I would basically take and do another story that is a old-school throwback, JRPG game. Mm-hmm. Why not? Take some of the beloved characters of the Fire Emblem franchise and build a game of, like, make a game, a quest between, with Ike and Marth, where they just go off onto an adventure, and that's the game. Like, I think that's definitely a no-brainer that you could do some amazing stuff with that.
Well, the thing about Fire Emblem that I loved playing was how the maps and how differently the maps all played out depending on what was happening, all the different environments and how that all plays out. You have to use, because it's on 3DS, the graphics really aren't there. You still have to use kind of like your imagination to like figure out what's going to happen when this room fills up with lava, or this floods, or this cloud of poison smoke kind of fills up. If you visualize what we're all like, what's in our mind's eye, if you kind of create this spectacle, that turn-based, kind of like XCOM, is a beautiful game. The turn-based stuff is incredible. Do that for Fire Emblem, and I'll buy it 6 times over. Even if you do like five games of it.
All day. And I think that now that they've kind of got a working relationship back with Square, they need to go and make Super Mario RPG 2.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, my goodness.
Would go ballistic.
I love that we're like, they need new IPs, and then we go off and say we want another Fire Emblem, we want a Super Mario RPG.
But I feel like
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but I feel like there's franchises that haven't been touched in years.
Yeah.
And they need some love, and I feel like when they released Super Mario RPG all of them years ago, I felt like, oh my God, this is the future. This is what we're going to get. And then that divorce happened, and we never saw it again. And now that they've come back together, so to speak, I think that it's time. It's time that you could bring them all back together and do what you got to do. So I'm pretty excited. So you got anything else, or are you good?
My anything else is not nearly as strong. I would like to see actually some more of the Hyrule Warriors.
I would too. I love that. I love that game. That game was a lot of fun. I would love to see them do another. I wouldn't mind if they did a Fire Emblem one.
Definitely.
Because that game. Absolutely. I played the Dragon Quest one, and I loved it. I thought it was great. So they could definitely dive into other franchises as well. But Hyrule Warriors all day long, man. I'd buy that up again.
We need to write down a topic for another day, because I think this is going to be a major conversation. To get to your point about, in order to focus on new IPs, there's only so many developers in the world that can make games as high quality as we need them to be on Nintendo. That means some franchises can no longer be around. We should have a topic about we got to cut some of these things cannot continue.
Let's do it next week. I'm down with that. That'll be one of the topics next week.
It's not as positive, so we gotta keep it.
But eventually, it's kind of cool to see like what and you know what? Tweet to us. We'll tweet to Sean, tweet to me this week. What franchises? Give us list one franchise that you would axe or leave it in the comments below on the video and all that stuff, and we'll read them next week. And we'll definitely go. Let's make this a community thing. Like, if you had your choice to axe one franchise from the Nintendo world, what would it be and why? And let us know. I think that would be awesome.
Love it.
I think it's a great topic. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to us on iTunes, SoundCloud. You can follow Sean at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. See, I got that right that time.
I like it.
You can follow me. You can follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. Also, you can watch the shows on YouTube. And stick around for the end of the show after the music, because I've been throwing some extra stuff in there. Started last week, and I try to, if I can, find stuff and throw it in there at the end, because it's kind of fun to hear us riff about nonsense. Last week was fun because people got to hear you sing and got to hear the true reaction to it.
I know, and I'm just remembering that I'm supposed to sing a song in Japanese. And I thought about this.
Why? Did we get 5? Do we get 5 ratings?
So my boy Josh Stapleton, he had already reviewed us.
I didn't realize this. Let me take a look. I didn't realize this.
So while you're checking that, I'm quickly scrolling through my stuff here too. So he said on June 29th, he said, since I already did a review, I'll send you a pic of me eating a sandwich and reading a Nintendo manual if you sing in Japanese. Which of course is a play on my trade-off on We the Gamercast. If people send me a review, I will send them a picture of me eating a gluten-free sandwich, eating a comic book. So I love that, Josh. I thought about this long and hard. I think that if I were to sing a song in Japanese, it would sound, even though I'm not trying to be, it would sound like I'm being racist.
Possibly.
Because I would be going all in for the tone and for whatever the accent. Even now, I can't even. It's 2016. It's microaggressions. It's all happening. And so here's the thing.
Okay, so have you seen Josh's review?
No, I can't, because I'm in Canada. I can't see the American reviews.
Okay, so he gave us a 5-star review. Dude, and it says, incredible. Ask yourself these questions. Do you like video games? Do you like Nintendo? Do you enjoy podcasts? If you answer yes to any of these, you need to check out this podcast. Sean and Bobby have a great chemistry, and you can hear and feel the passion they have for gaming. That is awesome.
I freaking love this guy, man. Oh my gosh.
That is awesome. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much.
We're working something out for the We the Gamercast. He's going to be.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It has to happen very, very soon. Hopefully in July we'll figure this out. Josh, you're the best, man. I did look at this. I might have to do some sort of like, you know what? Maybe I'll do Fire Emblem. I'll do the "You Are the Ocean of Gray Waves" or whatever the hell it is. Okay.
So that is all. Peace out.
Ocean's gray waves, something. There's only like 2 lines. How do I not know all the words? Damn it.
Oh, my Lord. You need to practice that and come back next week. Wow.
I need a karaoke, little Bob. The thing that goes over the words.
Wow. So.
You know what? You sing next time. Don't give me crap.
I didn't make the offer. People enjoy their eardrums, and they don't want me to sing. So, no, I will not sing. Anyway, you go.
Oh my God! I put myself out there.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
XYZ later. Yeah, the waters ever change. What is this ad? Get out of the way of my lyrics.
What I really want to do is I want to do Alan, Toby. If Holly could be there, she could be there, whatever. But I'd like to get you, Mark, and Joe, all my people I podcast with.
Oh my God.
On for one episode for a mid-year Game of the Year.
You should like tag people in and out. Like you should like don't have too many people all at once. Just have like
No, we can control that.
Sure.
I'd be fine with having them all in it because I would totally control. And no, it's not. Listen to me. I would totally control it because
relax,
I would say,
Bobby, relax.
You relax, Bobby.
Yeah.
But I would.
I don't have a comeback for the relax. That was my go-to.
I got you. No, because what I'm thinking is just have them all on there, and we just do a like mid-year game of the year. Like what right now, what's your game of the year as of right now? And we just go out, get on it all, just have a conversation. I don't think it'll be too erratic because I'll just basically dominate the conversation. Just be like, okay, Sean, what's one of your games? Okay, good game. Okay, what's yours? And then kind of keep it flowing out. We'll see.
Oh man, that is awesome. I wanted to do something like that. I want to do some special things with We the Gamer Cast. I've been percolating some ideas. I always want to just rip off the history of awesome that IGN did. I think that was like some really spectacular stuff. I actually pitched it to my family. Like I want to just like sit down with them and go like, okay, well this weekend when we have dinner or whatever, we're going to talk about the year 2000. We're going to talk about whatever happened that year.
That'd be cool. That'd be actually kind of cool.
Like I just want to turn life into podcasting, I think.
I agree.
Otherwise, what are we talking? What's the purpose of our conversation?
Pretty much. The purpose is right now we're going to start the episode because we got Jacob on the back burner, on the backside of this.
I thought this was already a great episode, but you just ruined everything.
I didn't even turn it on yet.
It's live. I can see it's live.
It's live, but that don't mean we're recording.
Oh, I thought that we were recording. Well, how should I know?
Well, we are recording, but until I start doing the intro.
Oh, so we are recording. So
it's not official. This is all jargon. This is nonsense. I record all this because I think there might be some tidbits I can grab and throw on the back end of the show.
Eskimo
kisses. I'm going to start doing that for now. Would you stop with the Eskimo kiss? Oh.
The Edmonton Eskimo kisses.
Stop.
That's our football team.
You don't have a football team. I don't know what it is you guys play, but that's not football. Well, let it go.
We throw a giant beach ball in the air and let all our wide receivers run full sprint.
Yeah, it's weird.
The ball, it's messed up. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. So, okay, let's kick this off. What is up, everybody?